All right, the comment section of my last podcast went crazy. I got whooped up on for wanting to trade people. I'll tell you all about that and give you my reasons why in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Once again, and thank you for joining the Locked On Jaguars podcast for another great show. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. I am your host, Tony Wiggins, the host of the Locked On Jaguars podcast, where it's your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. Quick reminder that we are free on all platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube page and follow us and get us wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Jaguars is presented by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick between 2 and 6 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. All right, we're going to get right to it. I ain't going to take this whooping. I'm going to give one out. So if you thinking I'm going to sit here and be all humble, you're wrong, because I did a podcast yesterday where I talked about perhaps getting rid of, or not getting rid of, but moving on from certain players, namely Roy Robinson Harrison, Josh Allen, and I took a pretty good gut punch in some of the comments, whether it be on YouTube or social media. So I'll answer that, and I'll tell you why. And I'm not going to pretend that all fans are monolithic. Let me give you something to look forward to in segment 3. I'm going to talk about why it's easier but more difficult, if you can be both, to build your team when you have a great quarterback. It's intriguing. So you got to hang in there and check that out. But let's go ahead and get to the business, man. Not accusing fans of being monolithic, not even accusing fans of being the same people that are saying two different things. But I think for the most part, everyone would agree that the Jaguars need better edge rush. I think there are a lot of people that believe the best way to do that is to go full-time, have your base defense be a 4-3. There are some people that believe that Trayvon Walker needs to move inside, gain 10 pounds, and become a 3 technique. So let me get this straight. If you think they need to go to a 4-3 or move Trayvon Walker inside and or get more edge rush, but we need to keep Josh Allen and we need to keep Roy Robinson Harris. You do know if you move Trayvon Walker inside the 3 technique, he takes Robinson Harris's position, and that makes Robinson Harris a $10 million backup. Doesn't make sense. Then there are people saying you're crazy, don't get rid of Josh Allen while he makes only $10 million a year. I don't care if he makes $2 million a year. If you're not going to re-sign him next year, you're making a decision early to get some compensation for him. The answer that I'm hearing from a lot of people is put the franchise tag on him. Franchise tag next year for a linebacker, because they do run a 3-4, and he's listed on their depth chart as an outside linebacker. It's about $22 million. No team wants to carry a guy's salary for $22 million when he's in the last year of his deal, unless he's a quarterback. All right? So what if I told you that they believe that they need better play out of Josh Allen on a consistent basis? The reason why I said to pull the emotion out of it, because a lot of answers I heard people say, Roy Robinson Harris is the leader. I'm not paying a dude to be a leader $10 million. We have to get to the point where we're paying guys. If you're good, you make good money. We're not going to pay you great money to be good. At some point, the Jaguars have to find their Nick Bosa. Jaguar fans act like that's Josh Allen. Josh Allen has 27 sacks in 4 years. Nick Bosa might have had 17 this year. I know Hassan Reddick had 17 this year. I want the Jaguars to get that alpha dog edge rusher. Now you say, well, you can get that. Move, who inside, and then go out and get him this year to go opposite Josh. My point is if you're getting that guy to be opposite Josh, that means Josh ain't that dude. The other part is in a year or two, Josh is going to want to get paid like he's that dude. Because so many people, and I like Josh Allen as a player, love him as a person. I just think so many people want to pay him like he's that dude, and he's not. If he's your number two, see if you can get away with paying him like your number two. Watch and see how far that works. I don't think he's going to let you get away with it. This is the same city where they let a guy who averaged 8.5 sacks beef publicly with somebody who he thought was underpaying him. And since Yannick Ngakoue has come into the league, he's in the top 5 in sacks, hurries, forced fumbles. But all folks want to do is talk about the fact that he's played for 4 or 5 teams. He's never been cut. He's always traded. So that means that there's always been a market for him. You look at guys like Max Crosby, Von Miller, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. That's what everyone seems to think that Josh Allen is, and he's not that. So for me, I knew I was going to get pushed back when we talked about him. I knew we were going to get pushed back when we talked about Roy Robinson Harris. Doug Peterson has said we can't bring everybody back. I'm going to talk again to those people that are so quick to run Juwan Taylor out of town, and he's the best right tackle on the team. Hands down. You can't love your quarterback that much if you want to get rid of the best right tackle on the team and take a chance with somebody who's probably not ready, or at the very least doesn't play right tackle very well, in Walker Little. I'll hit more of this in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. I have to let you know about our new partner who I am super, super excited about. New to y'all, it ain't new to me because I've been on FanDuel's case for a long time, man. That's right. FanDuel is the truth. They are the number one sports book in America. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a, check this out, no sweat first bet. You get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. How about that? FanDuel lets you bet on everything from money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. I have been a parlay king for a long time, so I'm excited this year to put my stuff to the test and see if I can do it again. I hit 5 out of 7. 5 times out of 7 times I hit the parlay on Super Bowl Sunday. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Riding into segment 2, talking about the same thing. I know y'all shotgun with me because it is your team every day, and we thank you for making us your first listen. Your second listen should be Locked On NFL Draft, because the crew is at the Senior Bowl and they're getting inside analysis from the hosts that covered the NFL's next generation in college and find out which NFL draft boards these players will be climbing, all in one location. Subscribe to Locked On NFL Draft for nightly live shows from the Senior Bowl on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. Some interesting prospects out there. I heard my man Luke Musgrave is wearing it out there and doing really well and looking pretty good. Tajay Sanders is also a dude that everyone keep keeps talking, not Tajay Sanders, but everyone keeps talking about the running back from Tulane. I believe that is his name. And he's been another player that has really turned it up. I had a chance to get him in a mock draft the other night, and I took the kid from Illinois because I thought Sanders was too skinny, right? And I asked someone who's at the Senior Bowl, is he thin? And he was like, nah, man, he's bulky. I saw a picture of him today in shorts, and I'm like, yeah, he is bigger, and I wish I would have taken him in that mock draft because he looks like a guy who's going to be a very, very good player at the next level because he's so sudden. But back to the Jaguars before we start getting them new players. We have to figure out a way to get under the salary cap. So here's the thing I want to talk about to the Jaguar fans. What do you propose that we do about this salary cap and paying players? Now, mark you, they haven't won a Super Bowl. In fact, they've won 1 year in the last 5. The Jaguar fans want to hold on to everybody. Doug Peterson says we can't keep everyone. It's a business, and we know that. You can't want to hold on to somebody because they're a good leader. And you're going to overpay them while they're coming off the bench. I got a feeling that they address the interior of the line, you can already have somebody like Foley Fadukazi who's making double digit. When I say double digit in millions, I mean more than 9. Possibly coming off the bench and sharing time. Unless he has a breakout year and a comeback year, I'll tell you right now that they're not getting everything out of that signing that they wanted. Rayshawn Jenkins says he dares you, and he's not saying this, I'm saying that. He probably daring you to cut him because the way he played last year, he's going to get a lot of money on free agency. So cut me if you want to, and I think the Jaguars need to actually extend him about 1 or 2 years to reduce his cap number. But do it yourself. Go on one of these sites that allows you to re-sign guys, reasonably restructure, cut, and tell me how you're going to drag a team that has one year of winning out of a $33 million hole of a salary cap while you have a quarterback on his rookie deal, while you're starting running back, you're starting edge rusher, and you're starting corner, and one of your left tackles is on a rookie deal. Go ahead, be my guest. In any other year, the Jaguar situation would look like an absolute mess if there wasn't so much enthusiasm for them making the playoffs. When they were 3-7, we thought it was a mess. 1, because they were losing, but 2, there appeared no way to get better other than player development and experience. Now, that can mean a lot because as I told someone in here today, this time last year, Philly was getting smoked out of the playoffs by Tampa. And all they did was add A.J. Brown. And I'm not saying that like that's something small. That's a lot, right? But he's not the only reason they're winning. They added a couple of more pieces. Bradbury at corner, of course, the 2 defensive tackles they got after the year already started. But for the most part, their team was intact. If they lined up right now across from Tampa, they beat Tampa by 30. So how did that happen? Player development, more experience for Jalen Hurts, another year in Nick Sirianni's offense. You have to think that the Jaguars' biggest improvement is going to come because Trevor's going to take another step. They're going to be familiar with Doug Peterson, the flow of the workflow and how things go. They're not learning a totally new system. They're just going to be tightening it up and making it cleaner. They all know each other for the most part. They've gotten the monkey of losing off of their back a little bit. So, yeah, they're going to take another step. Guys will also develop and become better players who are young. Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd, hopefully those are the 2. And we want Luke Fortner to I hope Luke Fortner is somewhere right now eating supplements and lifting weights and getting stronger. But you're going to have attrition every single year. You're going to lose people, so you have to figure out how you replace those people. And the salary cap makes you have to be creative. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like the salary cap is this bugaboo because I tell you every day that it's not real, right? So I can't sit here and pretend that I don't believe that there's a way around it because it is. However, Trent Baalke, your GM, even said himself, it's not about cap, it's about cash. So that gives you a sigh of relief, like, okay, it's not about cap. Woo, so we can get beyond that. Yeah, but in order to get beyond that, the thing you need is cash. Jaguars got cash, but that doesn't mean they need to give it out recklessly and not be judicious in how they allocate the funds, especially when you look at position groups. If you got X amount of dollars, you can't have one position group dominating it because it's going to limit the ability of you to go out and grab extra players. Also, understand this: some of those teams that you barely beat, they're going to improve this year because they're not in salary cap hell or purgatory. And because the Jaguars made a run, those teams are probably picking higher in the draft. They won their division. And money talks. BS runs the marathon, and we know that. So what can the Jaguars do? Normally, when you have a guy on a rookie deal at quarterback, things get easier. And they do get easier, but they get more difficult because the scrutiny is a little bit different. I'll tell you exactly what I mean with that in a second here on Locked On Jaguars. After I let you know about another one of today's sponsors, and that is our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a daily fantasy game where you have entries on PrizePicks, and those entries have player projections. You have to decide whether they're wrong, more or less, and it's just you and the computer, not you and Joe from the West Side or your buddy Tommy who lives in Maine somewhere. No, it's just you, your more or less choices, and PrizePicks and their entries and projections. Can you beat PrizePicks? I know some people that do it very well. They offer projections on any sport that you watch, including football, basketball, college and pro, baseball when it comes back, hockey when it comes back, PGA it never leaves, college football, men's basketball, all of that stuff, boxing, MMA, and entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's just that easy. It's safe and fast withdrawals, so they ain't gonna play with your money either. And it's currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Just download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100, and if you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. All right, let's clean it all up and tell you my theory on having a quarterback under his rookie deal. Once you get a quarterback, period, it should make team building easier because now you're just going to take the best player, the ones that complement your quarterback, the ones that will give your quarterback a better chance to win, guys that can follow leadership very well when you have a good leader at that position. So that sounds real easy. It's easier said than done, right? But here's where it gets more difficult. Because once you get a quarterback, especially one on a rookie deal, you're in a race against time before you have to pay him a bunch of money that you need to go ahead and get players under contract and on this team. Once your quarterback signs this mega deal, which for Trevor Lawrence will be in the $250 million range in terms of money that is guaranteed, and maybe in the $350 million and $400 million range of overall possible money that he may get over the life of the contract. Did y'all hear that big loud noise in my ear? In any event, what has to occur is you better build your team while your quarterback isn't that good, because once your team is really good, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, you're not really going to have the opportunity to build your team the way you would hopefully want to. Correct? Correct. The Chiefs are an anomaly. The Chiefs, it seems like over the last 3 years, Louis Riddick put out a great tweet yesterday where the Chiefs actually got, of their 7 picks, like 5 of them are starters and the other 2 are contributors. And then he went back to the year before, and they got a boatload of starters, including 2 offensive linemen. So while they're changing up things with their quarterback having so much money, and they're losing players like one of the best receivers, the most dynamic players this league has ever seen in Tyreek Hill, they're able to sustain because they have enough other good players, and then they draft so well. When you draft well, guys make contributions without making a ton of money. It also gives you confidence that when some of those guys hit free agency, to let them walk because it's easy for you to find someone else. A la Baltimore on the offensive line with Orlando Brown, Zeus Brown, baby Zeus, Orlando Brown Jr. a couple of years ago. He wanted to play left tackle. They only had room at right tackle. He wanted to be a left tackle. They traded him. He's a big-time left tackle who's going to be on the market again this year, and he's going to get paid. Good for him. Good for Baltimore because they found somebody. They got Rodney Stanley back at left tackle, and then they got another right tackle because that's just what they do. So the question is from this point forward, what happens? Well, what happens, in my opinion, is the Jaguars have to get this draft right. I think they're going to restructure Trevor at some point next season in year 3 to go ahead and get it out of the way and maybe get a little bit of a discount because it's going to be an extension that's going to be added on, but you'll give them some bonus money right now. And then a lot of people that you know on this team are going to have to go. They're going to have to start drafting well. They're going to have to make sure they get production out of these young guys, which is why I was like, I wouldn't fire Balky, but I would ask myself an honest question. Is Trent Baalke the guy? Is he the person that's going to be able to take this team into another stratosphere and start drafting well once you have a good quarterback? You can't draft well without a quarterback. You can't draft well with one. So here's the other reason why it can become a detriment, that once you have your quarterback, it should be easier, but it's not, because you're going to be working with less money. Your quarterback's going to eat up a bunch of your cap. And then the other thing, that there's this other window. Here's the second window. You had the rookie wage scale window, but now you have another window. And here's the window that is the most dangerous and the most scary to a lot of folks. That quarterback window. Once he gets into year 4 and you give him the mega deal, now that quarterback window opens up and you got about an 8 to 10 year period where you have to win a Super Bowl. But now it's more difficult because you're doing it with less cash because your quarterback is eating up everything. Look no further than the situation up in Green Bay. They're always beefing over who they're adding to the team and how they're going to pay this guy and pay that guy because Aaron Rodgers makes so much money. New England never really went through that because Brady played at a little bit of a discount, but he knew he would make it back an endorsement. So that's why he was able to do that. But even Brady, he wasn't going broke. He was averaging 18 to 20 million a year. So it's not as if he wasn't making money. How the Jaguars navigate these things will be the most important thing from this point moving forward. Make sure you stay with me here on Locked On Jaguars. We'll give you some reports from the Senior Bowl later on this week. I hope that answers some of your questions about the cap. Y'all can get off my neck a little bit. But until the next episode on tomorrow, take care. Take care of each other, and we'll see you then.